In the world of game development, the devil's in the details. Those details, they come alive in static meshes. Welcome back to Ranger Realm Studios. Once again, lighting up your game dev journey. If you haven't joined our community yet, hit the subscribe and bell buttons now. Today, we're diving into the magic behind static meshes. Let's get into it. We're going to cover how to import static meshes and place them in your scene. If you want to follow along with this tutorial series, I added a download link for some static meshes in the description below. But if you already have your own, go ahead and use those. So let's get started. After downloading and saving the static mesh assets to your computer, open up your content browser, right-click, and create a folder. Name it something where you want to store your static meshes. I usually call mine 3D assets. Once again, keep in mind, Unreal Engine does not like spacebars in your names. Once that folder is created, go ahead and open it up. Now see this import button? Go ahead and click it. If you don't see the import button, you can also right-click into the folder. Go all the way to the top where it says Import to Game 3D Assets. Your computer's file explorer will open up. Navigate to where you saved your static mesh and select it. In our case, we will select all the meshes that you downloaded. Then hit open. Remember, usually these files have an .fbx or a .obj extension. Next, an import settings dialog will pop up. Make sure skeletal mesh is unchecked under the mesh options. Let's take a look at the settings that we have available. So we're not going to be covering nanite meshes just yet. That will come in a future video. We want to make sure that we generate, make it a little bit bigger. Make sure we generate any missing collision in case there's an issue with the mesh. Unreal Engine will then automatically fix some of those collision aspects. Under the advanced settings, we're going to be generating light map UVs, build reversed index buffers. You also have an option for combining the meshes. Let's say you have one object that is composed of multiple different smaller objects. You can then combine that into one large one or keep them separate and import them separately as they are. Normal imports method is also important, how you want to import your normals, or if you want Unreal Engine to compute the normals. Personally, I just import the ones that I'm going to be creating as well. Then the normal generation method falls back into if you chose to compute the normals when you're importing. Minimize that. Then transform, you can choose the natural transformation settings of this object if you want it to be moved in a certain direction before you even import it, if you want it rotated a certain way, or if you want to increase the size of the object. To convert the scene, with it being checked, so whichever program you use to export your model, for me it was Blender 3D, I can then change the coordinate system so it actually matches the coordinate system in Unreal Engine. Otherwise, it might be a little weird when you try to move things around because it's not a one-to-one scale. Now under Advanced for Miscellaneous, you can just override the full name. And the material, search location will be local, change it up, whatever else you would want it to be if you don't want it to search, or if you even want it to not create a material. That's what we're going to do for now, do not create material, because we're going to be covering materials and textures in our next video. Therefore, we will also uncheck the import textures box. For advanced, you can also choose to invert your normal maps in case you prefer that workflow, and reorder the material to the FBX order. Keep that checked. And then down here simply tells you exactly what version you use to export the file and what I use to create the file. After we got all our settings figured out, just click Import All, and Unreal Engine will automatically import the meshes for you. If you want to, go ahead and open it up so you can take a look at them. This is the sword that I imported. And let's look at one of the vases. Or vase, if that's how you prefer to say it. I just noticed a small mistake that I made in the last video, if you've been following along in the series, because when we opened up our game, it was our first map that opened up instead of the map that we created recently. So let's open up the map that we built last time, our first map. Make sure we save everything. All right, so and now in order to make sure that this map always opens up when we open our engine, go down to Edit, Project Settings, Maps and Modes, and then here under Editor Startup Map, open it up and choose our first map. and the game default map would be that map as well, just to be sure that if we do build out the game, it will open up our first map and not just the default level that Unreal Engine comes with. Then simply close it, save all, and now the settings should be taken over. To place your static meshes in your scene, simply drag and drop them into the viewport. And you can use your mouse wheel to zoom in and out and give the mesh a good look. Make sure it's just the way you want it to be. Alright, I like it, but I would like it to be inside of the little building we created last time. Then remember how to duplicate it, just hold Alt, drag it. Let's add the other bars into it as well. Make sure it doesn't bleed outside of the wall. Then let's scatter a few diamonds about. And lastly, I want to hang this sword on the wall. And it is now in behind the wall. That's not where I want it. So drag it back out. Rotate it degrees, up just a little bit. And as discussed in our last video, you can use the move, rotate, and scale tools to adjust the position. So let's go ahead and hit play and take a look at the objects we just placed in our scene. You can see the vases, diamonds, and the sword hanging from the wall. Well, that's all there is to importing static meshes into your game. Now go ahead and fill out your game map a little bit more to make it feel a lot more alive. Use the static meshes and the BSP brushes to flesh out a small level. After all, we're trying to make a game. The road to game development excellence is paved with skills and techniques. Today you added some more to your arsenal. If this was a level up for you, smash that thumbs up button and share the knowledge. Before you embark on your next Unreal journey, remember to subscribe, ring the bell, and drop a comment below. What kind of static meshes will you be using in your game? Stay inspired, keep creating, and we'll see you in the next tutorial.